Let's go, girls. Welcome to Tunnel Talk, a no facts, all feelings wrestling podcast on the Social Suplex Network. I'm Allie.
I'm Ann.
And I'm Leah.
Ladies, how we doing?
Good. We made it this far.
So true. Looks like we made it. Look how far we've come, my baby. I'm glad we took the long road. Could be worse. Been raining here all day, but I am off until next Wednesday.
Ooh, sexy.
I had to use up I had PTO that I was supposed to use up by April 30th, which is the end of our fiscal year. But also, we are switching to unlimited PTO next year. So it's like, in a sense, it doesn't matter. But then in another sense, it's like, I will use these days or so help me God. Right. And somehow I had a bunch of them. So I'm off. And that'll be good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Because my house is not in great shape and my mind is also not in amazing shape. So hopefully it'll be a rejuvenating period for me.
Yeah. Love a staycation.
Yeah. I did it earlier in this month and it fucking ruled.
Yeah, you got a ton of stuff done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know that I see me getting a ton of stuff. Well, but I hope I do.
If you get a medium amount of stuff done, you'll have succeeded. I mean, yeah.
That's so true.
I have to go to
Barslow.
I have to go to a work conference this weekend.
No,
really?
Yeah. Yeah. I have to
All
fly
weekend?
out Sunday. Well, Sunday.
No.
Till
Okay, well, that's
Wednesday.
bad enough.
It's bad enough. I always get so resentful when they make me travel for work on the weekend because it's not like I get that day back.
No. Where do you have to go?
Madison.
God.
Yeah.
And it's not nice up here yet, I'll tell you that.
Oh, good. Usually this time of year is like kind of okay, but not this year.
This has been
check the weather.
This has been our worst winter up here in I would say at least 5 years in terms of length of winter.
God, it's kind of like rain there.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. But it is spring now, but it just barely. And it's April 24th. April
That's
showers
not okay.
March was supposed to come in like a lion, go out like a lamb, and then the April showers bring the May flowers. But April kind of came in like a lion and is going out like a sleepy lion. Well, I think we have no podcast business unless we want to suddenly on air discuss the question of when what's making me happy.
Can we do it like Memorial Day to Labor Day?
No, that's so short.
Yeah.
Leah, no. I think we should.
That's like the definition of summer.
It's not just for summer. It's for the nice part of the year, and I think it should start in May. I want to start getting fun recommendations from my friends again. I've had it with this normal chit-chat time. I want what's making me happy.
Start on May Day?
Yeah.
All right,
This will
Jeremy
be our
and
last
Josh.
week off.
Jeremy and Josh, prepare.
We have her locked in, listeners.
I hope you like
I will.
fighting spirit, Leah. Do you know, I saw fighting spirit in like a tweet from some kind of political operative, like possibly Anthony Scaramucci, like a few months ago, and I was like, is it even legal to use the phrase fighting spirit outside the context of Japanese wrestling? Seems wrong.
Send Anthony a message about that and see what he has to say for himself. Okay, so May Day.
Yeah, I think we're locked in.
Leah doesn't look happy, but you will be happy. I have so many recommendations that I just can't give without the format. You know?
You have so many recommendations you've been withholding from us?
No, well, it was really just the one that I will give now, which is I just wanted to say if anyone else out there is a woman with a short torso, you're a short woman with a short torso, this is the time of year to go to the Goodwill in the nearest rich suburb to you and get all the unworn Jones, New York, Talbots, Anne Klein tops that are being cleaned out of the rich houses. I've had a great run at the Goodwills. And again, that's for other short torsoed women.
Not for anybody else.
Your nearest rich suburb. You'll thank me.
Wow.
That's the
a great
only.
tip.
Yeah. I probably have others, but I won't waste them before we start our. But that
One
one's
at a
time
time.
sensitive, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Should we get into this? I don't know how the schedule's going to go because the number of topics that we're just like lurching into each other one after another, it was a bit like a Whitewater Rapids situation. So,
I mean, it is one of those things where it's like the more the storylines overlap, the more it is fun it is to watch, but it does like make things incredibly challenging.
it makes it hard to arrange stuff. And like just looking at it, I'm having this feeling, like I do feel like I'm like a Whitewater Rapids guide. And I'm like, if you find yourself in trouble, girls, like just raise a hand and we'll get over to the bank as quickly as possible.
If you fall out, go down feet first, keep your head up.
And what I'd recommend most of all is don't drown, because I prefer it when you don't.
It's a great recommendation.
Well, let's friggin' do it then. This week, Allie, this week's Collision opened with a big old Death Rider rampage, followed by an in-ring promo from still your world champion, Jon Moxley, who was kind of like, it was like, you know, he was like aboard a ship and it was like choppy waters were kind of the vibes. And he hissed at everyone that he hoped they enjoyed the Opps Trio's celebration on Collision because, quote, it's the last chance you're going to have to celebrate for a long time. Which I thought brought a new, fun, angry mom energy to his gimmick.
It was a little bit of like, say goodbye to these energy too.
The last time you're going to see these. If Mox wanted to start doing say goodbye to these, has anyone ever done that exact gimmick?
No, but it'd be such a good gimmick for a man to have. And I can see Mox or Matt Jackson really doing an amazing job with it.
Matt Jackson totally skipped the say goodbye to these, and we just had to say goodbye. He was like, it's just gone. But now they're back.
He hid them for a
even-
year without explanation.
And he didn't let us say goodbye. I think it would have helped if we had been able to say our goodbyes.
We had no closure before that period of our lives. We didn't know how long it was going to be.
I love the idea of the community come together to do one of those like retirement things where everybody shares good memories and like, but instead it's just about like the Young Bucks beginning to put on shirts for an entire year. It's just like, it's the last time we'll see them.
They were in their widow's weeds. But don't worry, those weeds have been thrown away. But yes.
We'll get to that.
Mox, just start pulling your shirt up and say goodbye to these. Please. Okay, so he added in this in-ring promo, he said that after last night, so Collision was filmed the night after Dynamite for some reason that I don't know. So the last night was when the Opps had won their trios titles off of the Death Riders. And after last night, and the Bucks, I can tell this is not going to go well for me. I'm so sorry.
It's not your fault. What's going on here in this first section is not your fault.
There's so many overlapping things, and I keep having to like cast my mind back to be like, why do they not like them? Or whatever. And it's just, there's just a lot happening.
And some people are in two different storylines right now.
Yeah, which technically is good often, but then also we're going to get to this later in this long segment. Like, there's a lot of men involved now who we don't know really, and they're in a bunch of storylines, and you keep encountering them and being like, "How do you two know each other? So you two go together." Like, I'm trying to figure out who's on which Red Rover team, and sometimes it's like, it's difficult to know, and also it's difficult to know why they're on the team that they're on.
Yeah. It is like someone new on the work team and like suddenly, but they're like speaking up in every meeting and they're very present, and you're like, why are you the only person I ever hear from all of a sudden? Like, take a back seat for a second, like get the vibes and then join in.
You're like, I pride myself on knowing almost nothing about my coworkers, and yet you've told me every single time I've seen you that you got your MBA at Duke. Now, why is that? All right, so the Bucks tried to interfere to help the Death Riders retain the trios titles, but Swerve got him and flung him into the audience. So they weren't helpful at all. But they were kind of like a net nothing, I think. They didn't help, but they didn't hurt, I believe. Nevertheless, Mox said that after last night, I've decided I officially don't like you two, so stay in your own lane. Which is a great response to the Young Bucks.
Just please stay in your lane.
I don't like you two. Devastating.
And it is true that, and this is very consistent, not in their lane is kind of like a Young Bucks character trait number one. Like, if at all possible, we'll be in someone else's lane.
Everyone else is like, this is actually a lap pool and you're swimming perpendicular to the laps.
Like, that's on purpose because we don't want any of you to complete your laps. Then Mox laid into Samoa Joe. So now he's feuding with Samoa Joe. We have to accept that's what's happening. He's going to have a singles feud with Samoa Joe. And that's happening.
And it's for more than 2 weeks, unlike Swerve, which makes sense, obviously, because people like Swerve a lot less than Samoa Joe.
I'm always hearing that. And he really addressed Samoa Joe directly. Like, he really had some stuff to say to Samoa Joe. For example, Anne, would you like to read the line that you highlighted?
Yeah, he said, I have given Samoa Joe space. Okay, after your breakup?
It's like, under other circumstances, I would immediately be like, now tell me more about that. But I can't say that Samoa Joe and Mox have convinced me that there's anything going on between them.
No, if only they were interested in such things.
It truly is, because that is the funniest line to be like, Samoa Joe has asked for space and I am gonna give it to him. So we're gonna get together in a couple weeks and talk about where we are, you know.
Right. Get a little time to think what we want.
Things got really overwhelming, and you know, he just needs some time
ran
to think.
Very high. And we were just trying to come back together with cooler heads and work this thing out. That's not what he said at all. He said, I've given Samoa Joe space, and it could have stayed that way, but Joe, you started something that I have to finish. It's called competing for a belt that I don't have. I don't know any other way. I will not run, hide, roll over, or die. I will fight you for the death. I'm challenging you. You've known me for a long time. You know who you're dealing with. This is two big WWE guy feuds in a really short amount of time. I'll just say that. You know, I'm not an expert, but enough. Samoa Joe.
Enough. Yeah. Especially because Samoa Joe's personality is just like, I'm tough and I like violence, which, again, does not differentiate yourself from everyone else on the show.
He won quite a lot of goodwill from me with the hook stuff, because that has been so fun. But it's like one of those things where I'm looking at him and I'm like, listen, yes, you have a positive balance in the goodwill bank, but it is so easy to spend down. And my bad. If you lose it, we're going to go right back to how we felt before.
Yeah,
it's true.
He started spending it down real fast this week, I thought. Yeah.
You have to be very careful. Like, just because you check your bank account and you have $1,000 in there, don't think yourself a millionaire. Okay?
It only goes so far.
In this economy, it's quick.
I'm feeling a little targeted by this.
Listen, we can talk about our bank accounts later. We can talk about what we've been spending money on later. And find glasses at Goodwill. What did you guys think of the Death Rider vibes coming into this segment? And if you want, we can explain. Maybe I'll explain the Claudio thing first. Okay. So later in the show, Claudio fought Adam Cole and lost, which I was like, oh, buddy. Really? Like, wrestling is fake, but I just didn't buy it.
I know. It's like, I'm so sorry to Adam Cole, but that does feel wrong. That doesn't seem right at all.
Doesn't check out. The math is not mathing on this one. And I think Claudio felt pretty much the same way, because immediately after the match, he had just a total breakdown where he's like rampaging around. He like turned over the commentary table. Nigel had to be like, Tony, get away. It's not safe.
Poor Nigel.
Every week you do this to me.
And then commentary had to sit with no table for the rest of the show with just their little legs hanging out.
That was so funny.
It was especially funny during the Tony commentary because the Tony Storm commentary because like the camera did keep cutting to her and she was sitting so primly in the chairs with like nothing in front of her and it was just so funny.
Now, from a shoot entertainment perspective, it was perfect that they had to stay just sitting on those chairs, no table. But it did just occur to me that from a kayfabe perspective, they store a lot of tables under the ring. So they weren't unequipped to simply provide them with another table. Something to think about. Anyway, so that tied in, like, the Death Riders are doing this kind of, like, furious temper tantrum gimmick. What do you think about that?
It definitely, I think, has got, I mean, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, they're clearly on their descent. I did say last week that I desperately did want them losing the trios belt to mean something, and I do think that they are unraveling. It is so funny that they're like, they seem to have chosen like a comedy like way where they're like, oh, we're unraveling like a sitcom, you know, like I think Claudio is 100% competing for Mommy's Little Ham, and I mean, he was going for it.
I kind of think they had no other choice. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, it is just like they've all gone full Toontown now. And like Mox, when Claudio was upset, was kind of like cupping Claudio's face and then he like yelled at Yuta for some reason. It is like, I think at this point, like a little hard sometimes to be like sure of what Death Riders are doing on purpose, but they do seem to be like they are losing a lot and they are losing in humiliating ways, like to Adam Cole. And
It's hard to come back from that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think a little Death Spiral is fun for them.
I did also really like Mox's face when the crowd kept chanting, "You passed out," and he was like, "Shut up! Shut up! You could all shut up!"
It's the last time you're gonna see these.
When Claudio went to flip the commentary desk, he almost looked like he was having a little trouble for a second. And plus, it was like so like large and unwieldy. And for a second, I was like, is he going to be able to do it? Because it would be full comedy to try to do it and not do it.
It would be so if he just clocked like this is going to look a little awkward and acted like I can't do it and then pulled away and done a full Regina George scream, you would have won Mommy's Little Ham for a month. That would have been so funny. But, you know.
Yeah.
It's like it's a learning curve. I think it's fun. I like it. I just don't think that they ever could have done it in a way that isn't comedy because they've been like rampaging around in like a non-comedy way for so long that it's like I don't know where they could have escalated if not into like full temper tantrum. And I'm having fun because I just keep like thinking about things my parents said they did when I had temper tantrums as a kid and being like, Tony should do that to the Death Riders. Like one time I wouldn't stop having a temper tantrum. So they were just like, well, just do it forever then. I guess the neighbors will call eventually. So they were just like, they just put me in the living room and just sat there like, okay, do this. One time they taped me having the temper tantrum and then played it back for me. And they said that did startle me so much that I stopped. Like, it was just like, what is that?
That took a lot more effort back then too than it would now.
Yeah.
So that's impressive.
Now, do they still have that tape somewhere? Because I'd love to see.
I don't think so. I don't think that they. I don't think that.
You have a lot of home movies.
I do. I've been going through something this week. I think maybe because I was thinking about this, where I've been watching a lot of my old home movies and then kind of crying, like just thinking about like being a child and the passage of time. And I did that for like 3 hours the other night. And at the end of it, I was like, God, this really, I don't know that I should have done this. And then I think that was when I said, you know what I'll do instead? I'll hop into Final Cut Pro and I'll make a couple of wrestling videos.
Listen, if you want to know what Allie's up to at 1:30 a.m., check out the Social Suplex YouTube channel or our Twitter or Blue Sky because there are two pieces of art that are very much worth seeing.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to find them even more like signs of a well-balanced mind, knowing that I pre-gamed them by watching home videos of myself for 3 hours, singing Landslide in my head and crying. So sometimes you share too much on a podcast, but that's honesty. It's just honesty. Can we
That's
move
what
on?
this podcast is about, radical honesty.
It's so true. So true.
So true.
If there's anything it's about.
That's got to be it. Okay, the Opps opened Dynamite this week with an in-ring segment with Master P. Samoa Joe told us that he loves New Orleans, and Master P agreed that he also loves New Orleans, his home city. They got cut off by a Death Rider ambush. Samoa Joe managed to get the upper hand on Mox, and Master P was yelling, "Put him to sleep," and kind of like punching at him. So that was fun. But the Bucks and Okada then ran out to save Mox. Now, I guess they didn't hear him say just the other day, or just earlier in the show, that he doesn't like them. That they came out to help him with Okada. And then they got chased off by Swerve. And then Swerve also got some backup from Kenny. So we had a full clown car.
It was like a pincher boob. I really liked that very much because it was like Swerve was coming from one direction and Kenny was coming from the other direction. And the Bucks and Okada were just sort of like, oh, God.
And they tried to do that move last week, but just on a chair. They didn't have a living target. They were like, we'll pincer the chair. Perfect. Goofus and Gallant over here.
I guess Kenny and Okada are feuding and gonna fight too, but like they're doing the least they could possibly do, I feel like, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah, they've been like mega slow burning it where they've done like a kissing pose twice, but it's like, I think that they are hugely resting on the success of their New Japan feuds, which I think is enough for many people, but
many seem very excited.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
yeah.
I mean, Okada in AEW has been like not that into like having a character. Like there's things I like about him. I'm not trying to be mean, but like he hasn't done enough that he can just like be like, and this was cool in New Japan, so you'll like it.
I think Okada, he's been very fun for me as just like a fun goof. Yeah. But he doesn't want anything and he doesn't fear anything, as far as I can tell. Yeah. He's just like, what I want is a paycheck and I'm getting it, so I'm happy. So it's hard. There's not like an emotional crux there, really.
Right.
Yeah, and Kenny's kind of been coasting too in a way where I'm like, Kenny, please do something.
It's, he just has moments of like really being present and then he goes away again. Yeah. And a lot of this, I don't know, it's like so many people that I love were there and I'm happy that they're all interacting. And also I'm like, I wish I could watch like a BTE about this. Like, I'm not quite sure what to keep my eye on when I only see you guys every now and then and no one is really saying anything. I don't know. Yeah. They did give promos the other week. So.
I agree. This storyline would be fucking killer with BTE supplementing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if they were just even doing more consistent promos. I mean, I know they did last week, but like, I don't know. It's just not very.
I don't know when they did them.
Yeah, whenever. Just like not very consistent. Like when I was like, oh, Kenny was a Dynamite just for that. I was like, oh, well, no.
You can't. They're not giving promos in a way where you can track like story beats. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know what the story is. She said like an idiot. I don't know what the story is. Wrestling is harder to watch than people say. People say like it's so easy to watch. It's not. It's not if you have an orderly mind, which I don't. Okay, so what happened here? Oh, Samoa Joe said, with respect to whose house this is, it's nice to see you, Swerve. Jon Moxley, you wanted me, now you have me. I'll be taking back my AEW World Championship. Sick to remember that he had it ever. Sick to remember that he had it, but then let me also say, I think he lost it to Swerve, who in this promo he said it was nice to see him. So I guess he doesn't hold grudges.
I guess
maybe that's a character note, but I don't really understand anything about Samoa Joe's character, so when I realized after the fact that they had that relationship, I was like, this is a little strange.
Yeah. Doesn't seem real good.
Was he a face champ or a heel champ?
Swerve or
Samoa Joe?
Face,
he really,
I think.
Yeah, I think face, because he took it off MJF, but he didn't like make strong moves one direction or the other, I would say.
I don't know about all of this.
Yeah.
Somehow our conversation has me more confused than I was when we started.
That's the Tunnel Talk experience.
I know, and this is all cracking me up because like I feel like this is us complaining. Like this is a pretty like critical segment, and I'm like, we actually did have a time of our lives.
No.
Yeah,
and
totally.
also the number one thing that happened was the Young Bucks outfits. Like,
oh my God,
was Samoa Joe even there?
Guys, I'm so sorry. You know what I did? I collapsed this recap, so I couldn't see that I had these. I had these discussion questions. Actually, I couldn't even see that I had those. So I've just been freeballing it basically. And don't worry, Bucks outfit 60 minutes is right there. Leah, take it away. Can you describe what you saw for us when the Bucks came out with your eyes?
With my powerful eyes,
With your sharp eyes.
Matt Jackson, the man that you are, the absolute king of
King of everything.
King of everything,
Yeah.
comes out in, I don't even know what to describe the garment. Do you call it a tank top?
I don't know what you would call it because, well, it's both quite a deep V. Now, this one I think has to have been constructed by Lady Cutler.
That was a Lady Cutler, for
so
sure.
to know that
And
Lady Cutler is receiving deep V instructions is...
Well, she's taking Nick's matching one, which is not as deep a V, and then Matt's gets altered.
Yeah.
That's
Deeper.
cool.
And Matt's was studded with pearls,
Oh
which
my
also
God.
I fucking loved. And it like wasn't even a V anymore. It was
it's
a kind
quite
of a
wide
boat
set.
neck.
Yes.
Yeah,
A
true.
deep boat neck. So we're really playing in the space.
And that's what I prefer to do in the space.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. There was a point towards the end of this segment where after he had gone over the barrier, his straight up nipples were coming out, like of the top. I was like, my friend, you deserve so many senatorial awards for this.
When you thought you might never see a man's pectoral muscles again, and then he comes back at you and says, actually, it's deep V's where the nipple slips out.
Oh,
That's
God.
when you think to yourself, perhaps there is meaning in this cold, cruel universe of ours. Perhaps we are here for a reason.
It was such an amazing look. I was obsessed with it.
And I do want
Animal
to...
print. Did you say that already?
No, you didn't. It was zebra print.
Yeah.
And Leah, you said, and I know that if you follow us on Twitter or Blue Sky, you've already seen how this played out, but Leah said, do you think he's giving Julie Cooper a little bit from the OC? And we were like, yeah, 1,000%. Immediately, I'm off to Dr. Google. I'm like, let's find a picture of Julie Cooper. And the picture that I find, I'm like, this is pretty comparable, but it kind of cuts out above the nipple area. So it's like, yeah, this is like some kind of deep V tank situation. Like, this is Matt Jackson's whole look. Eventually, I find a full picture, and she is wearing a bikini top. And so when you ask, like, what would we call this garment? Like, I want that in the conversation as well. That, like,
Yeah. It should have been a
cut
bikini
of the
top, yeah.
That perhaps crop, perhaps get the abs out. I don't know. It's like we're just thinking of crazy places this could go, you know? But also just like just a string bikini top normal also as well is something we could play with. I don't see wrestlers playing with that enough, to be honest.
We gotta slide into Lady Cutler's DMs and be like, we have some ideas. We love what you're doing. This is not a criticism. You're doing amazing
Please follow
things.
us on Pinterest.
We just think you could take it farther. Just start cropping that top, you know?
I love the idea of her doing that, like, just on her own. She's like, they didn't ask for this, but you know what? I think I'll do the girlies a solid.
I think he'll love it.
Really, really something to behold. I mean,
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Thank you for my life.
thank you for my life. Yeah, needed that. Okay. Well, don't worry. We'll be back with the Bucks immediately. That's the next segment. I'm so sorry. Guys, what's wrong with me?
No, you're fine. You're completely fine.
Okay. So the Bucks not only made an appearance in this segment, but they actually fought a match. They fought a match on AEW television.
Incredible.
This was for the first time since
never
October.
See it again. Since Halloween, they lost a private party on Halloween.
Dude, that's so many months.
I
That's
think-
6
I know.
full months.
I can't
Yeah.
believe we made it.
It's crazy.
Like, it's
Can you guys
wild.
believe we used to see them wrestle like constantly? Them and Kenny, like
No.
just every week on TV, and
them
we
all the
didn't
time, and best friends were
Friends.
around. We would see them at least on Dark.
I think
I
that's
know.
made up. I think that's a false memory. Like in that movie
Yeah.
we watched.
True.
We've just been programmed to think that happened.
Actually, best friends of the Young Bucks got in front of us, and then we said, "Love link established." It actually never happened.
Oh
the best
my
friends
God.
have never wrestled.
They aren't even wrestling.
They're not even wrestlers.
Oh my God. Love Lancaster. Oh my God. Okay. No, they fought, first time in 6 months, fought a match versus Speedball Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight. And one thing I want to say is, you know, when most wrestlers come back from a long disappearance, you're like, I think they might have a little ring rust. Not these.
Not the Young Bucks.
Not these boys.
Not the
these
Young Bucks.
boys. In fact, I thought they were looking crisper than ever.
Yeah, that was unreal. Like, my jaw was like on the floor from like 30 seconds into the match.
Yeah, and Speedball Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight are both such like flippy, cool. Like both of them, their wrestling looks so cool, and then combined with the Young Bucks, it was like this match kills.
Yeah, don't remember when we were asking them about like chemistry and like can you tell right away, and they were like, yeah. I feel like this team had to have been one of those teams that they were like, yeah, that was instant chemistry, because it felt like it.
Have they wrestled them before?
No, I did that search.
good.
I went
You
on
looked it
Cage
up.
Match. I looked it up because I was like, I wonder if they know each other from the indies. Not as far as I could tell, unless they were wrestling under different names.
That's
Not the Young
wild.
Bucks, I mean, Kevin Knight.
It was so fun. And it was, I mean, it's like we're just always going to sit up for like this, like a Bucks match, like this, like this style of match to a lesser degree, but like a Bucks version of this style of match. We're always going to be like, oh, now I'm interested. I'm paying attention.
Yeah.
I think this is fun. Like they're doing little character bits that I can see. And then also doing some of the most insane moves I've ever seen, like a lot of body control going on there. Super, super fun. And what did you guys think about, I don't know if we're going to be able to say anything smart about this, but what did you think about, like, so the Bucks are, like, they're kind of still, like, still don't fully know, like, what this iteration of the gimmick is exactly, but what did you think about the wrestling with respect to the characters?
Yeah, I mean, they had talked about in our interview that they had changed their style of wrestling as heels and that they had slowed it down and they were denying us what we wanted. Like, that was part of it. And they've clearly, like, they're not doing that anymore. They fucking came and they weren't even doing like the heel, like
The
we
buffoon
call it
thing.
the buffoon
Yeah.
thing. They were straight up doing badass wrestling. So it's clear that like they've changed that, at least, even if they're still doing the EVP gimmick. The wrestling style is definitely back.
Yeah. It was like cocky bad behavior, but like can back it up.
Yeah,
which is
right.
a very fun version of them to watch.
Yes. Yeah.
So they ended up, oh yeah, okay. So they won. They did get a slight assist from Ricochet. So Ricochet had lost a match to Mark Briscoe earlier in the night and had been foiled in subsequent efforts to murder him by Kevin Knight. Now, and I know I'm in a parenthetical and I wish I weren't, but Kevin Knight and Mark Briscoe know each other because of the sewers.
Yeah, they were down in the sewers with Osprey.
Wasn't that Mike Speedball?
I don't know.
Kevin Knight was also
can't
with
keep
them.
Was Kevin Knight
track
also
of our
there?
new
I think
people.
so. I could be wrong.
Kevin Knight might have been in the sewer.
There were only 4 men in that team, but I think I've assigned Like, at least...
I just started to look it up on Cage Match, and I almost Googled Kevin Knight sewer, which would not have been a helpful Google.
You know, I don't think either of you guys watched the show, but in the show Justified, where they're always being like, we dug coal together, to like as a shorthand for like we have a bond that like no other men could ever understand, and an intimacy like which defies like words. We were in the sewers together is maybe a new version of that.
Yeah,
we just start saying that.
We
like,
often
were they
go to the sewer together.
in the sewers together?
All four of them were in the sewer together. Yeah, it was Kevin Knight, Mike Bailey, Will Ospreay, and Mark Briscoe.
Oh, they really bonded down there, huh?
I guess so. You know, when you go to a sewer together, when you're right down there in the filth, yeah.
They saw things down there.
They saw, well, probably that big old clown. I mean, I know what happens in sewers. I'm not a fool. Yeah. What do you think our podcast is like to listen to?
I don't know. It's surprising to me that anyone does listen. It's pretty crazy.
Disturbing. Okay, so they were on the sewer team together. So that's why Kevin Knight came out to save Mark Briscoe. But then Ricochet was so mad, I think, about Mark Briscoe. Now, does that make sense?
Ricochet was on the other team that lost the money, and so he's mad.
So that was
Kevin
the beginning
Knight.
Of their whole.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was in a separate sewer versus Kevin Knight's sewer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, we have our two Sewerhole team. Yeah, but I think that just explains the broader context of why Mark Briscoe and Ricochet were fighting in the first place. But so Ricochet in this moment, I don't know. Guys, everyone's out there just like, move on. There's no need. No, we're going to get this. You know what? We'll stay here for as long as
if we're here all night.
Until we map out Mark Briscoe's motivations, we're going to get there.
Oh, great. Then we'll be here for the rest of our fucking lives.
It's just hard for us when people don't convey those motivations, that we have to sort of proceed from first principles to try to figure out why everyone's doing everything.
Why did I tune back into commentary in the middle of this match to just find commentary talking about like what farm equipment they think Mark Briscoe might spend money on?
It was wild. Yeah, they really got into it.
Anyway, okay, so that's why Ricochet interfered. It's because of the sewer rivalry. I think we're going to be able to work with that going forward. Now that we know who was on Ricochet's team.
It was Action Andretti. It was like a real motley crew. Leo Rush and the Beast Mortos.
That's funny because Leo Rush and Action Andretti are crew.
Yep.
That's a good pun. That's what they should have called their team. The Motley Crew.
The Motley Crew. Okay, so we have the sewer teams. So we've all known about them the whole time. And none of that matters. Actually, nothing that we've talked about here matters even a little bit. It's just a light explanation for why Ricochet helped the Bucks win. But he did. But they still won, like, looking really cool. It wasn't a fool's cheat. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah, like, I think they would, like, in kayfabe, it wasn't like his interference got them the win. They were headed there anyways.
Yeah,
which
but
I love.
You said that like a proud
Tony
dance mom. I mean, I'm not sure that fully reflects the reality of the match. But I loved your confidence. They were always going to win. Everyone could see that.
My sons, they were doing fine. They didn't actually need the help. The help was nice.
Tony Khan has to protect the honor of his new favorite toys that he bought last week, and that he will be playing with every second of every day until he tires from them a month ago and they become 2.0.
The thing is, oh my God, and that was brutal. That was really brutal.
Do you guys remember when 2.0 were the new toys?
Yeah.
I was thinking about this today. They came in and I was like, why am I seeing these new men that I don't care for every 5 minutes? And now that I've learned to love them, I don't see them no more.
Tony Khan's Toy Story. Oh my God. And they're sitting there in the room and they're saying, why doesn't Andy play with me anymore? Yeah, I think we're in a rough, when you have a brain that's just kind of like minced meat, Basically, it's difficult enough when Tony gets one new toy and is like, I'm going to be featuring this new toy all the time. And you're like, okay, I guess I have to onboard that I know that toy now. But it is pretty challenging when he gets like 6 at the same time. And then suddenly, like, those are the only toys, like, those are the top toys in the mix. And it's like we've been going from cycle to cycle now for the past month and a half, and I keep being like, you again, but I don't even know you. Like, I sense that I've seen you recently, but I haven't really learned anything about you. And Tony's just like, I'm writing another story about Speedball Mike Bailey in my marble notebook, if you're interested. All right.
Oh.
It's fine. It's fine. It's none of this is complaints. Well, kind of.
The match was really, really good.
Look, the match
I had a really, really fun time.
I have to take...
the move where Nick hopped up on the barrier and ran like halfway down it to land the TK driver was like, I was like, you're not human. You're a little cat. You're a little cat, and you're
a little cat.
You're doing little cat moves.
Leah's vibe right now is like, I have a lot more praise for the Bucks, and you guys keep
Dude,
derailing me to talk about Kevin
No,
Nash.
it's like, I just don't give a shit. You guys are like, oh, and this happened. I'm like, I didn't notice. I was high. Like, I was on another fucking planet. Who gives a shit?
Leah did
what Tony
at
wants.
one point, like, tuned back into our group watch and was just like, I haven't seen anything that happened since I saw Matt Snipple come out of his top. Like, she's just like, I don't know what's going on. We're like, just a whole match that's been happening. Look, I had the time of my life. You know, I'm not saying I didn't have the time of my life. It's just sometimes it's just hard to describe what you saw that you liked.
Yeah.
You know, when you're just like, yeah, I saw the exact thing that I like the best. What do you mean? What else do you need to know? I saw the exact thing that, like, is the reason that I watch wrestling, and when I'm not seeing it, I'm like, I don't know if I should watch wrestling. But then I see it, and I'm like, I love wrestling. Wrestling is the best thing that's ever happened.
Yeah.
So,
however long that match was, that I was like, this is the whole I spent the whole time being like, this is wrestling. This is what it's supposed to be. No one's saying this enough.
Just like a 40-year-old man watching FTR.
And we didn't even say they came out tops pop.
Oh yeah, tops off. They didn't even come out in shirts and pop them off. They came out full.
The Young Bucks came out pops.
Naked to the waist.
Allie, what is in that LaCroix?
I don't know. It's been a rough one.
The garments were gone, and they just were full titty.
Full titty.
Full titty. I also would like to, while we're listing our complaints, they got double ad braked, which is fucked up.
That's because they can hold the demo, Leah. You know that. You know that.
I know. We're the ones who broke that story.
They took us over? They took us into the fifth quarter, didn't they? Because they hold the
Guys,
demo.
I get so sick of all your numbers talk.
Eat shit, Trish and Sarah. We've got this beat now. No, but Rottner Discord was like, is this a double ad break? And I was like, yeah, I'm on hold with 911. Fucked up.
I love every 2 weeks, Trish and Sarah record their podcast, and they're like, we cover an array of topics. We dig into different types of data. We break down like different ways you can look at the numbers. And we're like, we learned one thing, which is that if my favorite man gets a double ad break and is in the first quarter of the second half of the show, he's a special, amazing boy who can do anything.
and that's what numbers. That's all numbers are for. They're to prop up your special guests. So you learn all you need to know.
Yes, it's true. What's your line about cherry picking, Ann? Do you remember?
If you want some cherries, you've got to pick them. Yeah, I don't see what the problem is.
Oh, a lot of folksy wisdoms on this podcast. Yeah, but no, you hate to see it. And the Max ads really are not what I prefer, and we don't get picture-in-picture, and I don't understand why they can't fix that.
Does Max not have picture-in-picture technology?
I don't know.
It seems fairly straightforward.
It seems like a second-rate company to me if they don't.
Yeah. Honestly, I would say they do a terrible job at promoting any of their own shows, like including AEW, but not exclusive to AEW. When the other two was coming out regularly, I watched it every week, and every week I had to search for it because the algorithm did not show it to me in the like new stuff for you to watch segment. And AEW, I often have to dig for.
I don't think that's fair, Anne, because they're doing a great job of promoting that Logan Paul family show.
I certainly do see a lot of those commercials.
Certainly do see a lot of ads about that.
That is the thing about the Max commercials is that they have 3 ads that they will show you over and over again until they run out of ads, and then they just show you a screen that says, we'll be back soon.
Yeah. And it's like, why don't you just put up full screen? Like, why are we in ads at that point?
I know, it is like, don't you have, like, you have other shows that you could try to pitch to me.
You could show me that Last of Us, or the commercial for all of their shows where it like cuts between things that have wildly different tones. Like, and so if you're like looking away, it's really confusing because you're like, you hear a Righteous Gemstone like punchline and then like a Last of Us like
they do the whole, they do the splice.
Yeah.
This should be, right now, we are flirting with doing like a 30 Rock segment where Liz is being like, don't we own that show? Can't we just advertise it? And Jack is being like, Lemon, let me explain how this works to you. And it's like, no, we can't. And here's why. And it has something to do with wigs or sofas. Okay. Anne, in your notes, you bravely asked a question that I had as well, which was whether Mark Briscoe and Ricochet fighting was part of the Owen. And it wasn't. But I did have to research it. And because it seemed very credible that it might have been.
Because you're like, why are they fighting? And like the Owen, that's usually the vibe, yeah.
Now that I understand that most storylines that we're working on now revolve around our 2 sewer teams, I understand better why this happened.
I think we really got to the bottom of something in our sewer discussion.
Yes.
So
the
that's
bottom
going to
of
be
the
helpful
sewer.
moving forward. Yeah. And I think calling things a sewer fight, I think that's going to be something going into my lexicon in general. Like, I think that's going to be a little shorthand for me.
It's been a very rich spring for us in terms of like new terms to describe our experience of wrestling.
That's true.
We have cloud stories and now we have sewer fights.
Yeah. We are nothing if not innovators in language. You know, we are going to find a way to succinctly communicate concepts.
Many wrestling podcasts are just trading the same 5 phrases back and forth. Not us. We're inventing new phrases
because we can't
minute.
remember those phrases.
Allie, we can remember the word washed. Come on.
I did very much enjoy one of our friends who heard that discussion on the Waffly Bollocks crossover being like, I love that you girls, your only interaction with men is through wrestling, so you think that's a wrestling phrase. It's just a general man phrase.
We don't know that.
That's just how men talk to each other.
We don't know that because we exist in largely female communities.
Purposely. Isolationist-wise for a long time.
Very happily,
It's a little herland thing.
I just was like, should I make a lesbian separatist joke? But in my head, I said lesbian secularist. And I don't know what that would be, but I think it's something to unpack at some point. All right. Okay, so it wasn't an Owen match. What's going on in the Owen? Mark Briscoe got eliminated by Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher is now set to fight Hangman in the semifinals on next week's Dynamite. And the winner will go on to fight Ospreay at Double or Nothing, and then the winner of that will go on to fight Mox or whoever's currently holding the Men's World Championship at All In. Renee interviewed Hangman backstage on Dynamite about the tournament. The segment was quickly interrupted by MJF. MJF was in an ill humor. I hate to use one of my favorite phrases on him, actually, but he was in an ill humor because Bobby Lashley had taken the car that MJF gave him, but had not given him the thumbs up he desired. Now, we're not going to do a full segment on what happened with MJF and the Hurt People this week. I think the gist of it, I would say, they got a full in-ring segment and backstage segment again. Could have been longer. Could have been much shorter. Let's play with those 2 ideas. Shelton Benjamin did call women broads, which is a choice I wouldn't have made after the events of the past month. But that was, I think, the only reference to... Oh, no, I think MJF did say something gross.
Yeah, he said that they had a really good time last week, and then Shelton Benjamin went to give him a thumbs up, and Excalibur said, oh, Shelton Benjamin must have had a really great time last week, and then Shelton Benjamin said it wasn't because of the broads. So
That's right, it wasn't because of the broads. He didn't like the broads. Okay, so they referenced it, and then they moved on to doing the same thing from last week, basically, but this time MJF was tempting with a car.
With different, more valuable objects.
What can you do but laugh? You can be angry too. I don't really care to see. I don't understand the storyline, which we'll get to in a moment, so we can set that aside. I saw this as it's like, to me, it was like last week they were like in a huge pit, basically. And then this week they were like, man, people got mad about that pit. We're not going to go film somewhere else, but we'll walk around the pit. So it was like, I felt like they like didn't.
Pit adjacent.
Yeah, it was like pit adjacent. So it was like, okay, well, I wish that you'd done something like be off TV, but I guess that was never going to happen. I'm mad at all of you. But
yeah.
Also the bar was in hell. So I was like, I guess I'm glad that you didn't say bitch anymore. I'm glad that you didn't respond by saying bitch 17 times. That's the most I can say for it.
Right. It's like, it certainly wasn't worse than last week, but it somehow was more upsetting to me. And I think it just sort of depends on how your week was going. Like, I ended up feeling like this was my last straw. Like, if I didn't like doing this podcast, like, I would fully be out on wrestling, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just really felt like doubling down. And it felt very much like, oh yeah, like these guys, successful men never get punished for anything. You know, it's just like when you're a star, they let you do it. So
it's rough for it to be such an inescapable theme of the society that we live in, for sure. So, you know, I don't think we want to get into that storyline anymore, except that we'll get into the other thing that was like, oh, last week was a really bad segment and went really badly, was that MJF then immediately interfaced with Hangman again, which was like,
it did feel like he was like, women are mad at me. Let me hook up with the number one, like, women, like, you know, favorite.
Yeah. It was paging Hangman Adam Page cleanup aisle MJF. Right? No.
Yeah.
I definitely, it wasn't for anything. The only way that you could explain this, like why they had this interaction. Oh, I transcribed all of this. That was good of me. AEW.com, whatever. Anyway, it's like, I guess Hangman doesn't have anyone that he has talked to recently, I guess, who could have done this exact thing. But I'm like, did someone need to do this exact thing? No. Whatever. I'm not even saying it. Like, I'm like, to me, it was just very clearly like, oh, this is like for MJF, like, to get him out of his hole. Whatever. But anyway, they had this...
Right, because Hangman didn't need MJF for that.
No.
Like, he could have just talked to Renee and accomplished everything he needed. Yeah, that had nothing... But Hangman did not benefit from that.
No. And Hangman was like, your plan to join the Hurt Syndicate doesn't make any sense because that doesn't get you the belt. And MJF said, wow, of course you don't understand it because you're an idiot. And it was like, no, it's because this is a bad storyline that doesn't make any sense. And you keep, like, doing long segments every week without progressing the storyline.
It was like I'm always being like, oh, I guess sometimes you should just hang a lampshade on it. But this was a funny lampshade because it was just like, yeah, that's really right. It doesn't make sense. I guess I wish that if you were going to be showing it to me every week, it did make sense, but it doesn't. Right. There's no reason for it to be happening.
Right. So, well, it was like, I heard it and I was like, hey man, can you say that again to him, but like backstage and like maybe like in this way that's like, do you want to workshop it together?
Right.
Do you guys
just say like, hey, you know what, in that promo we did earlier and we were saying kind of mean things to each other and I said that one mean thing about how your storyline doesn't make sense. That one is real. That one's real.
Do you want to talk it through? Like, do you want to show me what you're working on? I've got this red pen right here. So.
Oh, I know Hangman it never travels without his red pen. So they had this back and forth where Hangman says, doesn't make sense. MJF's like, it actually does. And you're a great wrestler, but when we wrestle again, I'm going to beat you. which I like didn't want. I was like, don't talk to me about wrestling again. Like now I'm scared for what's to come in the next few months. Now I don't want you to wrestle again now. So whatever. And then
you don't deserve Hangman.
Yeah. And then if you do manage to make it to the finals of the Owen, you're going to do what you do best, cowboy choke. And Hangman did get off. You just wish it had happened with anybody else. He said, I got something you can choke on, dumbass. I mean,
He also earlier on, because MJF said something about, like, you're going to slide, like, maybe I'll slide in the back door. And he was like, what do you know about back doors? And I was like, this was a promo where Hangman was just, like, getting off these, like, jokes that
Getting
fit
off.
in, like, perfect. Exactly.
The Randy meter was cranked to 15
yeah,
for
I really
sure.
enjoyed that. Hangman was having his fun, You know how sometimes, like, people are having their own private jokes that they've managed to, like,
like Tony.
just yeah. I like it.
We do have all these sewer teams now, so I guess I'm kind of like maybe we get Hangman in like kind of a Randy Meter promo with some of the sewer guys,
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. Like maybe him and Speedball.
Maybe him and Speedball. Maybe him and Kevin Knight. I can name all the sewer guys now. Will Ospreay was down in the sewer. Ricochet was in the sewer. The Beast Mortos was in the sewer. Different sewers.
That's so many guys.
Yeah.
You could say innuendos to.
It's 8 whole guys, sewer guys. Some of our most classic, best sewer guys.
Best sewer guys.
All right. Okay. Now I've done something to myself. Okay, so that was all so that's where Hangman's at going into the Owen. He wants to beat Kyle, but MJF was like, you probably won't. Kyle. Okay, we return to Collision. We go back to Collision. Collision was a real delight to watch this week, I have to say.
Yeah. We had fun.
We watched that
Colliders.
with all three of us with our whole eyes, and it was fun.
And yes, we do want applause for that.
Yeah, for sure. No one actually, I said it in one of our group chats and no one clapped, which I thought was really rude. I was pretty upset about it.
We live on praise.
Yeah. Okay, so we're back in Collision. Josh Alexander and Takeshita teamed up to fight Ishii and Rocky Romero. The conglomeration's Ishii and Rocky Romero. The conglomeration, another group of men that sometimes I find out a man is in there and I'm like, I didn't know that. Or I forgot that.
Yeah. These are some peripheral members of the conglomeration, which I thought had disbanded some time ago.
Yeah, you're kind of like, I guess maybe technically, like friend of a friend style. Like, yeah. The Don Callis family won. In part because I guess I kind of missed this moment, but I guess Rocky refused to let Ishii tag out.
Well, yeah, so I got a little confused and had to rewatch it. So Ishii accidentally hit Rocky, like friendly fire, and Rocky took it personally, and then when Ishii reached for him, refused to tag out, so then Ishii got pinned.
Oh.
The idea of thinking that Ishii would hit you, like betray you on purpose to hit you, I was like, that man, like, he's just a goblin that sits outside of a cathedral and, like, perches.
Oh, sweet goblin. That's my favorite goblin.
I don't know what happened in the past, like, month, but I'm like, I would die for Ishii. I love him.
I do
Every
love
time
him.
he comes on screen, I'm like, thank God he's here.
Well, yeah, no, I agree completely. It was a rough night for him.
He was not having fun.
Yeah, because, so, Rocky's vibe after they lost was kind of like, okay, I'm sorry, maybe I took things too far. Ishii was like, what? Like, he looked mad. And then a behoodied figure appeared in the ring and then like took his little hood off and was revealed to be a little Greggy. And so he's back from the wars, and we heard about this last week on the pod, as you know, but we didn't know the whole context. And did his time off improve his temperament? No, it did not. Because he immediately started beating up Ishii, and then Rocky was beating up Ishii too. And I was responding like someone was showing me a bear fight, basically. And I'm like crying, being like, he's just one of God's creatures like you and me. Like, how could you do this to him?
It did feel like abuse somehow, like, but in the way that, like, when you see an elephant being mistreated.
Yeah.
It just was so, it was so horrible. It was like, he's never done anything wrong in his life.
I'm pretty sure Ishii is the one wrestler who's never been wrong ever.
If anytime he's been mean, it's fine. She's actually fine. So, so they're beating Ishii up. Don Callis comes out, and he has a wrench, and he gives Greg the wrench, and it's like, Greg, you wouldn't. Greg, stop it, not another tool.
Not the wrench that killed Chuck Taylor.
Oh, my God. And Greg takes it, and he bashes Ishii over the head, and he and Rocky have joined the Don Callis family. Rejoined, in Greg's case. Rocky was not in there
Before.
No, he was conglomerating.
That's
quite a shift.
What is their damn tag team name?
Roppongi Vice.
Roppongi Vice. Roppongi Vice is back. That's probably good for the tag division, but bad for the morale of the podcast.
Yeah, I know. I hate when Greg cheats on Dustin.
I mean, at this point, he's literally getting married. It's kind of like Dustin left, but they didn't get a divorce, and it's been a year, and Greg's like, I'm remarrying.
Well, Greg's like, I've declared him dead. Like, I've declared my wife dead, and I'm getting remarried. And you're like,
that's when Greg has to go to Alabama to get Dustin to sign the divorce papers.
That's what I want to be seeing.
Wow.
That's it.
I can't wait to see the beautiful glassware that Dustin has been making. I like that you did. I mean, for the joke you had to, but I'm like, I like that you sent him to Alabama instead of the home state of Kentucky. For the joke. For the joke.
I had to get you, make sure you got the reference.
And you were right to do so, and it was a great reference.
Thanks so much.
All right. Where am I in this big block of text? I wish I were putting on the best talent show this town has It's not. It's in there, guys. It's not ironic. It's in there forever now. Okay. Discuss Greg's return, how he looked, his appearance physically. Slender. Slender.
He was differently shaped. Because, like... don't
Sounds
you
like
think
a euphemism.
Do you know what I mean when I say he was differently shaped?
He had more abs, but less boobs. Don't you think?
No, they were smaller for sure. You called them modest. Which I love. And who else were we saying was being really... Oh, we were saying that Josh Alexander, you said that he came out in like a little sun shirt.
Oh yeah, a rash guard.
A rash guard, yeah. And so then we were saying like, oh, it's like Modest and Demure Summer 2.0, except for Matt Jackson, who's having a tits out slut summer. And thank fucking God.
Thank God.
He took all the sluttiness available backstage, and everyone else is like, give me a shirt, I gotta put it on over my one piece.
Imagine, I love the idea of Tony being like, there's a limit to like how much male boob we can show on our professional wrestling show.
It's like how you can only say shit once. It's like you can only well, that would make me really
so many
sad.
Juicy titties. Yeah.
What we're describing sounds terrible, actually.
I know. I'm like, if
Leah's like, I can't even joke about this.
I don't like this,
guys.
A limit?
If the tit tariffs ever go up,
it's gonna devastate our economy.
God. So true.
Can you believe we have to think about tariffs so much? Really, we can't get into that. You're right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said it. Okay, so then on Dynamite. Oh, Greg, did anyone watch the Greg Rocky promo? I didn't see it.
Oh yeah, I did. It was fun. I mean, Greg was really good. Rocky was fine, but not really meshing with Greg's energy. But
what was their energy? Like, what was Greg's vibe?
Greg was saying he came back. He was like, "Yeah, I broke the screws that were holding my neck together. I broke them. Have you ever heard of that, sound guy? You idiot camera guy." Which was really fun. He's a very fun promo.
That's crazy. I wonder if they shoot. Do you think that's shoot?
I think it's got to be, like, otherwise, I don't know.
I don't see
crazy.
Greg has so many skills, but I think, like, making up medical problems isn't one of them.
Yeah.
He's not.
I feel like that's the kind of thing it wouldn't occur to you to make up
No.
unless, like, you had broken them. But
Wow. Well.
Yeah, and then Rocky kind of did a generic, like, I'm mad
Rocky.
kind of promo.
No one can
Dustin
really.
would be better.
Greg is so good at saying something that you never expected him to say, that it's like, Rocky, step up your game, okay? I need you to get in touch with, like, you know, it's like you need to be a little afraid. Do it scared, Rocky. What are we talking about? So then on Dynamite, Josh Alexander, and Takeshita fought Will Ospreay and Brody King. And I've said here, who are friends, question mark, maybe also because of the sewers. I wish I could remember what happened in those damn sewers. But now we know, unless I'm still missing memories that a clown took from me, we know that Brody was not in those sewers. So I don't know how he and Will Ospreay are friends.
Yeah. Ospreay's turning into a real friend slut, I will say.
I'm, in a way, furious at him because I'm like, we had one great cloud story we were telling about you, and you've ruined it by now being a social butterfly and who, like, is friends with everybody, but not in a way that matters. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh,
right.
You'll just hang out with anybody. You just love hanging out with people. If you live in a dorm and it's like anytime someone's like leaving, you're like, oh, you're going to the cafeteria? I'll come with you. It's like, you don't know those guys. You're just going to go to the cafeteria and have lunch with them? You don't even know them.
It's like you're not sad and you're not developing intimacy with your peers. Like, what's the point of you?
I feel sick right now. I do. I feel bad.
He's just building 1,000 shallow relationships.
Yeah.
Like OC used to do.
Oh my God.
Also true.
Alicia was funny.
But at least he had some intimacy in his life.
He'd known.
So true.
Yeah. He'd known love.
He'd known love. What do you make of our energy this week? Do you think?
I have no idea.
It's a bit of a mixed bag. There's been high highs, but low lows as well. Now, I wonder why I put this in here. Oh, the Don Callis family beat Ospreay and Brody King, who aren't friends because of the sewers. They're friends for some other reason that we don't know about.
What was the joke that we kept saying that Ospreay wanted to join the barking dogs?
Oh yeah, right. He was gonna bark too, and then he was trying to get Kenny to meow at them from across the cafeteria.
Yeah, but I thought he was.
That was because of something.
But it wasn't because
he was hanging out. They rejected him.
Yes.
In the cloud story.
Oh, but
they wouldn't let him join the barkers.
How did they encounter each other in real kayfabe?
I don't know if they did. They may have.
All right.
Oh, you're suggesting? Are you suggesting we just made something up whole cloth?
It's possible. It's quite possible.
Wow. Do you think one week we should just not watch wrestling and then just come on here and say stuff that we think confidently just be like, this is what happened, and it's just our cloud stories?
Do you think that it would be?
I do think fun exercise.
Do you think that it would be like completely unremarkable to everybody else? Like they wouldn't be able to tell the difference?
I think it would be remarkable, but I think it would take a while into the episode to be like, now I'm starting to feel that not a single thing they've said is correct, and usually their batting average is a little higher.
Is this one where we'd like look at the card and then like make it up based on the card, or just go totally off book?
I guess we'd have to.
I guess we'd
have to look at the card. I think to get away with it at all, you'd have to look at the card. Damn, now we're telling. Should we cut this? No. You'd have to look at the card and then do it based on that, and then just be making up all the like backstage interviews.
I bet we could I bet we could guess like a certain amount of the runouts and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, put that on the list for the activity enrichment list. Still don't know why I'm explaining any of this. Okay, Kyle. Oh, Lance Archer came out because he's in the Callis family, and he chokeslammed Will Ospreay, and then Kyle came out and he was beating up Will Ospreay, but then Hangman ran out with burning hate in his heart because of being mad about being told that maybe, he can't win. So he was coming for Kyle, like to save Ospreay, but like because he's mad at Kyle. But then Trent and Rocky beat up Hangman, and then everybody beat up Hangman, and Kyle brainbustered Hangman. And then the DCF were, why did I say, this is so crazy, full DCF standing strong in the ring. I typed that?
I have to be honest, there's a couple things in this paragraph that do seem like you got possessed. Like, since when do you call him Hanger?
I thought it would be fun. I don't know.
That's pretty loose, you know? It's like just calling your work coworkers by their nicknames they go by outside the office.
Oh my God. I don't know, guys. I don't know.
The stills from DCF standing tall in the ring were so funny because it's like you've got Greg and Takeshita posing big time. Like they look like they're trying to get the cover of Muscle Man magazine. And then little tiny Rocky is tucked under Lance Archer's arm, but at least they were funny. And then you just got Josh Alexander standing a little bit off to the side, and he looks like such an a too eager dweeb where he's like, look at me, I made it. Didn't I make it?
Hey,
I'm with these guys.
He always has this vibe where he's like, I look really cool right now. I look like super cool, I bet, in the pictures, and he looks like the biggest dork. Like he's doing, like, unironically what Ricochet is doing with some, like, awareness that he's the world's biggest geek, you know?
I accept that perhaps at some point Josh Alexander will speak and he will entrance me, body and soul.
Yeah. I'm definitely not.
Of course that could happen.
I'm not ruling that out. I mean, he has the vibe he has the vibe that either he's my son or he's nothing to me. And I can't wait to find out which one it is.
But right now it is so funny to be like, you showed up to college and immediately joined this team? You pledged this frat? Did your dad go here or something? Like, there's got to be some reason. And I guess it's like he knew Don Callis. They don't think they have a good relationship.
He is like the Misty of the group on Yellow Jackets. It's like they're letting him be the equipment manager, you know?
Okay, well then look out. Dude, Don, look out.
He's the most dangerous man on the team, yeah.
That's fun. Actually, I like that very much. I'm willing to track that as a Cloud story.
Oh, yeah. I'm immediately onboarding. I hadn't thought of it until just the
Seeking signs of psychosis from Josh Alexander. All right. Now, where am I? Okay, done. Segment over. Great. Okay. I know earlier I said the Death Riders open collision, but actually Tony Schiavone and Nigel open collision, and they were wearing coordinated outfits, which I'm obsessed
Beautiful
with.
burgundy.
So cute. They look
We tracked that immediately. I said they showed up together in the same color. Wow.
So sweet.
Nigel was wearing a shirt in that color and sneakers in that color, which really showed the care he puts into his relationship, I think.
I think it does. Yeah.
I think that's correct.
Later in the show, I said looking like they knew they'd set the internet ablaze with their love. I hope they do. Later in the show, Tony received and read aloud a letter that he'd received from FTR apologizing for their actions the previous week. Oh my God. Okay. I will do this aside. Let's go into the brackets together really quickly. Remember last week when we recapped the FTR Tony Schiavone Nigel melodrama and had the time of our lives. So what we didn't do was keep
watching.
We didn't watch the rest of the show after that. It was just like, okay, let me have my cigarette and pass out. And so we did I learned kind of like almost immediately after we recorded that there was another whole FTR segment on that show where FTR were confronted by Danny's biological fathers, Matt Menard and Jeff Parker. And they were like, please don't hit our child. And actually, the way that Manolo described it, I actually didn't understand at all. He said they confronted FTR about, quote, not letting FTR put Garcia in the same position as Copeland, beating him up.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I guess. It's a weird way to phrase it.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, and they were like, we'll let Danny make his own decision. Then FTR trounced 2.0 in a match and were just like spine bustering them like repeatedly or something to that effect. And Danny Garcia apparently hopped on the apron and was like begging for their lives, like being like, don't kill my dads, please. And they were like, okay. But then they pinned them and Garcia was like, this blows. Little Danny, sweet Danny. I can't believe I called him Garcia. You're right. There is a demon in me. Sweet Danny was like, why would you do this? I hate this. And after they were like, we're so sorry, sweet Danny. We're so sorry. We're so sorry. And then they spine blasted him. And so he got totally spine blasted flat in the ring. And he's left there thinking like, this day just got so much worse. And after I saw my dad's having sex, and now these are my other dads, and they might not be able to have sex for months based on the injuries that they've sustained. So that's another trauma.
Which, of course, no one likes to hear that your dads may not be able to have sex for months. That's upsetting.
He's like, I thought I might get a brother this year.
Danny Garcia's coming out of wrestling being like, God, I need so much therapy.
Well, that's life, Danny. Most things you come out of saying, I need so much therapy. So get used to it. And anyway, so that all happened on Collision. We didn't recap it, but that has happened. Okay, but that has nothing to do with what I'm about to explain. I just felt like we should gloss it. I wish I'd done a better job. I do wish I'd done a better job. I wish I were better at the job that I have.
Doing fine. No, you're doing fine. Shut up.
Amazing.
I wish I were another person. I think this might go back to my...
I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl who looked good. I would call her.
Oh my God, yeah, I do wish that.
I wish I had a rabbit and a bat. I had a hat with a bat and a 6'1"
Wow, I
collar.
wish you guys could see Leah's face. Animated.
Yeah.
Very animated.
She came alive. Yeah. Took off her glasses. Went crazy.
It's true. None of what I've described is relevant to what we're about to talk about, which is that Tony was like, I got this letter from FTR. Shall I read it to you, Nigel? And Nigel's sitting there with his cappuccino at the breakfast table. He goes, well, I guess you better. And so Tony, and it's written, Dear Tony and Nigel, I wish we could take back everything we did to you guys last week. It was completely unacceptable, unnecessary, and unwarranted. I honestly think the punishment for us wasn't severe enough. Tony, I would never have hit you. Like, you know that. You know my heart. Like, I was never going to do that. And you just said that mean stuff about my daughter. Asked a question. And Nigel, I think it was really brave of you to defend your husband, even knowing that you would never win a fight with me and Cash, and you would die. And he would have to bury you alone. And
Dex said to Nigel, I know your body. And then Tony left a long pause and then said, and your mind, for that matter, is very fragile.
It was so long. I know, he said, I never wanted it to get physical between the three of us. I know your body. It was a startling moment where you were like, wow, maybe this goes deeper than I ever could have known. Anyway, so the FTR are doing this. Okay, so that's where FTR are at. Tony and Nigel, of course, are in love. And that has never been clearer to me. And it might be, I mean, there were moments this week where I was like, that's the only thing sustaining me, really. That's kind of all I have, is Tony and Nigel. And a love that can be
Dare not speak its name.
No, it can speak its name. It spoke its name at the courthouse. It's legal. It's legal, baby. Okay. Then Dax and Cash came out for a promo on Dynamite with their new manager, debuting for the first time with them, Stokely Hathaway. I didn't recap this because I didn't want to. It was so long and it would be hard to do. And I thought, I have my girls. We can do this together. So what was communicated to us in this promo, girls?
It was basically like, he was like, other people have done worse stuff than FTR with less punishment. Great point.
Fair enough. This is from Stokely.
Yep.
Stokely leads with all this.
Stokely leads with all of it. And so he was going to expunge the punishment from their permanent record, which I loved.
Fun.
Yeah, and then he announced that he's the new agent for FTR, and then he told Tony Schiavone to do his job, which is holding the microphone for Cash. And then Cash said, up here, meaning move the microphone up here, but I wasn't looking at the screen at that moment, and I thought he meant like my eyes are up here, which I was interested in.
Oh my God. What was happening in that moment where, like, I swear to God, Dax, like, looked like he was, like, trying to take Cash's hand and then got confused.
Yeah. I also thought that that's what he was doing. He kind of reached towards, like, he wanted to hold Cash's hand for support.
Yeah, I think he was just pointing at the floor for no good reason, but, yeah.
Sure, that sounds right. So I think it's good. I think it's good that they realized that maybe they needed someone a little talkier to do some of the talking for them. Just as a general blanket statement. I think that's probably good.
Yeah, because then Cash did get the mic, and he did a pretty bad job.
I didn't like what he did, no.
Yeah.
And like
Stokely with them is a little bit like, okay, but like my heart is open. I enjoy Stokely.
Well, it's one of those things where I'm like, if the end result is that I hear less FTR and more Stokely, then that's fine. But I can't really imagine the three of them hanging out.
Yeah.
No. But it's like, should you hang out with your manager?
It's a great question. I mean, you look at the Callis family, they're sleeping in bunk beds, they're in a sexy horse stable. Like, yeah, it might not be right.
Not that we've been allowed to see them. And I'm really mad we've never been back to that mansion. It's so messed up.
I did laugh. Stokely was listing things that people have done in AEW without getting suspended, and he was like, "Hangman did arson," and Black Girl Wrestling on Twitter was like, "Okay, can you get everybody stop bringing that up? It was one time."
I appreciated this because honestly, often when I'm watching TV in general, and sometimes when watching wrestling, people will get in an argument, and I can be like, I'll just be sitting there like, you have lots of examples, like bring up the examples. Like that guy got to do this and that guy got to do this. It's really whiner behavior. But I'm like, just give your concrete examples of like the things that other people have done and like why your thing is fine. And then they don't do that. And I like lose it. Like, I'm just like, I can't believe that you didn't lay out the arguments. Like, that's not the point of the scene. Like, they can't do it in that scene. I'm like, okay, well, I would have argued it differently. So I kind of appreciated that he did what I wanted him, what I would want someone to do for me.
Yeah. He did a great job.
Specifics.
And then Rock and Roll Express were attending the show. And at this point, if I were them, I wouldn't, just because it's like pretty clear what's going to happen. So it's like, is that what you're here for? Like you want Dax to lay hands on you, but they were.
And I will say, like, I know people love them, and I appreciate the emotional connection people have to old wrestlers. But whenever I see an old wrestler, it's so depressing. I wish they wouldn't show them to me.
You're like trying to get. You're like, I know that they're allowed to have that like old dogs sanctuary Facebook page, but I do try to get it shut down because I don't want to see those pictures.
Makes me sad. See all those old dogs limping around with their mullets? I don't know.
Anne wants the giver room to be real.
Look, it's humane.
Thank you for your life, and it's over now. Goodbye. Yeah, so they did get, and then they got beat up. It's like they were there to get beat up. They foolishly, Dax was like, come kick the football. It's like, it's just going to be green stuff in your mouth or something. That at this point.
And I will say that Dax did some pretty funny heel work here where he kept being like, love you guys, and then interrupting them immediately and stuff.
Yeah,
and it's like your personality is a great heel personality, Dax. It has been this whole time.
He was asking them like questions. Like he was like, what was your favorite like match? And like Ricky would start to say something and Dax would pull it back and be like, because I think, and I was like, this is good. This is actually really good.
Yeah.
It's great. He is. I guess the thing that's going on is it's like he has a heel personality when he's a face. So it's good that he's a heel because then he can really lean into what he was already doing and it works for who he is. Yeah. And I do think that he has chomped some of the Young Bucks EVP flav. I think that he got some, and he is, and the only reason I bring it up because it's like, art is recursive, and it's like, of course, we're all feeding the great artistic experiment, and we should see things other people are doing and try them ourselves. I understand that, and there's a limited number of things you can do in wrestling. But then at the same time, Dax is like such a persistent homework copier that as a teacher, when I see it, I will say it. And I'll just be like, Dax, just be careful, because you have a real habit of doing something that someone else did and not always as good, but you were good at this. Just be careful,
Yeah.
So that's classroom talk with Allie. Women's Owen, Harley and Mercedes fought Stat and Julia Hart in the main event on Collision. Super fun. Chris won. Jamie Hayter was watching from backstage. Then Chris and Jamie Hayter main evented Dynamite. Total banger. Leah, you want to raise that complaint you had about the crowd behavior? What they failed to do. She never keeps her notes open.
I know. I really don't.
I think you like it maybe a little bit when I catch you like this.
Are you like accusing me of having a humiliation kink?
Not in so many words.
Oh, it was that. it was just that I thought that they should have gotten meat chance.
Yeah, they
Just
should
Good
have.
point.
Kind of a meat match for ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The crowd's not ready for that, but
No, but they should have.
in the next, perhaps within the next 30 years, I'll do it better. Mercedes, so Jamie Hayter won, and Mercedes came out to kind of like vamp at her a little bit because she's going to fight Jamie at Double or Nothing, which is not for a month. So the pacing, it's like just crazy to go from the pacing of being like, wow, we have no time to do anything, to now suddenly with the Owen stuff, I'm like, we have a lot of time to fill. Are you prepared to fill it? Like, what do you have in store for us?
Yeah, why is everything always either too fast or too slow? Like, I know it's got to be hard to pace out a wrestling show, but it's like, Swerve got 2 weeks, but now we're with Samoa Joe for like a month. Like,
Right.
why? How does that add up?
If we are stuck with Samoa Joe for a month, what if we were stuck with him till All In? No, we wouldn't.
Allie,
No, we
please.
wouldn't. You're
if
right.
Samoa Joe wins, I'll be rip shit, but he surely won't, and it's fine.
You know what, Ann? You're right. Not this week. Let's not think about it this week. I liked all of this. No one gave any promos, I don't think. Oh, no. Harley and Mercedes had a promo that was pretty fun. I don't know if it was this past week or the week before. I think it was this past week with the puppet, and they seem to be forming a little bit of a like, it's like supervillain, little stooge. Harley's being a little bit of a Brandon Cutler for them.
Yeah.
That's quite fun. I like that dynamic. And Mercedes is seeming really comfortable, which is fun.
Yeah.
She's like really thriving in this role now.
Yeah. I think you said something which I think is very, very smart, which you were saying like you would like to go back and watch her first couple promos and just like really see how much more comfortable she is, because she does seem like she's perfectly at ease in this. She's not relying on catchphrases as much. Like, remember we used to call her Buffy Bop because she just had like this the same 3 phrases that she said over and over. And I think she's really moved past that.
She has. And it's for the character that she has, who's like really like, I don't know, just for the CEO character, like it works better if she's comfortable, and her vibe is just like, I have no doubt that I could destroy any of you at any time. And she used to have to be like performing that more, but her vibe was a little more like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to say. But now she just comes off as great. So I'm happy with all of them. Anything that you want to say about the women's Owen?
I'm in a good mood with it because, I mean, of course, the Owen does just, smother stories, and that's unavoidable. But I thought Chris and Jamie put on an unbelievable match. It was so fun. And now I'm really looking forward to, like, Mercedes and Jamie Hayter. Like, I think that's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
For both of the matches feeding that final to be, like, such total bangers, it is, pretty electrifying.
I think with the Owen, like, for the women, the stories getting smothered is less noticeable because the women never get to have story,
that's
very
right.
rarely. Yeah, and then the matches have been so good, and actually the women are getting more time because they get a full Owen like the men do. So it's like, wow, unfortunately, a net positive. It's like when one team is coming from an 80 and one's from a 20, and then they're both at 50, you're like, wow, what a great thing for the women, and
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe they should book a women's 8-man and get a couple of sewer teams going, and then we could just use those going, for the next couple of months. It might be helpful for them to have a couple of sewer teams. Now that we've realized how much the sewer teams are driving things.
I'd love to get some women in the sewer.
Get in the sewer. Hey, it's not just for men.
Yeah. And actually, I think that they should get $400,000 about it.
Yeah. I really agree.
I forgot they got money.
Yeah. And do you think the women in AEW are making 80 cents on the dollar to the men, or is it much lower?
Less.
I would say much lower. Yeah.
For sure less. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Okay.
Of course, we have no information.
Guessing. I'm guessing less. I'm excited Anna Jay's going to be back next week.
Yeah,
I was just saying, where is Anna Jay? She's coming back.
And did you see Jungle Boy's new... don't get that excited. He's not coming back. But did you see his new Instagram story?
No.
He's making knives.
Wow, his metalsmith is really coming along.
Of course, I'm so proud of him and I love that he's an artisan, but like, okay, get back to work. Tony, get this man back to work. Get him back on my screen.
Why are so many people not coming to work anymore?
Seems like nobody wants to work anymore. Tony, look under your bed. Pull out the bins, Tony. 1, 2, 3, big clear bins. Take the lids off, Tony. Wow, they're full of toys. And yet you want me to take you to Toys R Us? Which surely doesn't exist anymore. Maybe it does. We're not going.
No, we're not.
And in fact, if you continue to only play with your sewer teams, I will take them away and put them in timeout. I will. Don't try me. I will do it. Final topic of the night. Nick Wayne fought Commander on Collision and won, making him the new ROH television champ. Renee was interviewing him backstage on Dynamite when Christian Cage interrupted and said, I am your proud father, and I think that this win is due to my firm, steady hand. No, I'm making this up. This is my... I'm taking some creative liberties here. That's basically what he said. And Nick Wayne was like, seems like you are an old man who just can't win. And...
What's happening here? You know you transcribed the quotes.
I don't know.
Yeah, are you doing our not watching the show bit now?
I don't know why. I was like, it's so embarrassing for me when I read these quotes. Like, they don't want to hear me read these quotes again, do they?
No, you have to, because you have to say, when Christian said, I'm the one who forced you to find yourself and spread your wings, become the prodigy. We're all proud of you. In fact, your mother and I celebrated your victory extensively that night. And I'd like to talk about the look on Nick's face when he said this. It was not disgust.
Yeah.
It wasn't clear happiness either.
Oh my God.
So what does Nick feel about hearing about his mom's sex life?
I don't know. Do you have a suggestion?
What he needs to go to therapy about. I think he needs to go work on that, because I'm starting to worry that like he has like a weird Oedipus complex.
It is like his mom following him to work, and now she's there all the time, and then started sleeping with his fake dad, and he hears a lot of details about it.
Yeah, but it's all messed up and twisted, because like he hero worships his dad. Hero worships Christian. And then, like, it's like, Christian can do no wrong, except he keeps talking about fucking my mom, which I just don't know how to feel about it. So then,
but if Christian can do no wrong, then maybe it's not wrong for him to talk about fucking my mom.
Right.
Circular logic.
I thought you were about to be like, so maybe it's not wrong to fuck my mom. And I was like, I don't know, Allie. I don't know if I want to follow you here. But you didn't say that, so thank you.
I'm not completely depraved.
And I think you should cut that out of context and use it as a cold open. Just
little cold open.
No, my friend, stop being mean to me. No. Yeah, he did say that thing about fucking Nick Wayne's mom, and I said, fine, I'll read the rest of it. You see what happens when you listen to me? Good things happen. And Nick Wayne said, well, when you stick to the plan, you actually win championships. That's a dig at Christian, who has...
And it was a very snotty little, like...
Really
but it
snotty.
he didn't really seem to get mad about the mom thing, but he did kind of get saucy about, like, having... his win-loss record criticized.
Let me just say, this is the youngest men's ROH champion they've ever had. Okay, so let's just be very careful what we say. Okay, this is our most child-coded player. Tiptoe.
None of this is our fault. Like,
I agree. You're right. It's sexual.
The patriarchy is like the Greek gods, where like, it's all fucked up and it should not be permissible, but it is what's happening.
It's cool when they do it, though. True. It's really cool when they do it. Not all of it. No, some of it's not cool. I'm thinking, I'm flipping through the book. Oh, some of it's not cool. That's right.
It's not cool. But okay, so Nick said when you stick to the plan, you win championships. Christian stared at him, gave him a long look. Then Nick tried to grab the belt. Christian pulled it back, stared at him, and then slowly handed over his belt. tapped it a couple times and said, "I love my family," and then left. What does it mean? What does that mean? What are we doing?
Does it mean? What does it mean?
What am I supposed? What was I like? Okay, imagine a non-pervert, if you will. What were they supposed to understand? What were they supposed to understand was going on in that segment? Like, is Christian face turning off of his?
It's face behavior to love your family. Right. Except that when Dax does it, it's always been heel behavior. I want to say one other thing. I think this is related. Someone on Twitter, I'm so sorry I don't remember who, Twitter or Blue Sky, said, now what role, it was Lizzie Flanagan, said, what role does Kip Sabian play in any of this?
And a great question.
The responses were across the board, God tier. Great job. But I will answer just 2 words. We know them and we love them. Cuck chair. The theme of AEW television.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, we're just lucky that Christian didn't say your mother and I and Kip celebrated your win extensively.
That got censored. He had to turn in his little planned promo ahead of time. Tony Sweatily was like, I don't know about that. Maybe not. It's like Tony would by far not be the worst thing that's happened on your show this week. So
Tony's like one cuck chair reference per month, please.
They're all fighting over it. They're like, who's gonna get the cuck chair reference this month? But it's always Kenny if he wants it.
Yeah.
You know,
because he's a star.
Because he's. You know, I love my family. What does it mean?
I'm dying to know because I'm not sure what we're supposed to understand, but I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah, of course.
I love Christian. He gets so much shit from the IWC, I feel like.
I don't understand why.
I don't either. It's like he's funny, and Nick Wayne is doing pretty good at promos. And Jungle Boy used to be bad at promos, and then he teamed up with Christian. And now
you
he's good at them,
have to give it to you. I mean, I know people are listening. I don't know who, honestly, but some people are definitely listening, being like, I do not got to give it to him. But I think you do got to give it to him that he's been handed a lot of marble mouth boys, and he just gets them up to speed. He teaches them how to do public speaking, and he's pretty good at it.
It's so true.
I don't know I'd love to hear what the curriculum is.
Oh yeah. Wow.
So
terrifying thought, but interesting.
I think he's a helper. Look for the helpers. I think he's useful. I think he loves his family. That much I know. I think he's fucking Nick Wayne's mom, and just excited to see where we're going with this. Now, is little Nick Wayne getting shipped over to ROH now? Or he and Billy Starks doing a swap?
I have no idea, because that ROH title doesn't always mean. We thought that Jericho was going to ROH.
That's
but
so
I don't
true.
think he ever went there.
I think he was there, but then he was also here.
Okay, you gotta send that LaCroix to a lab to get tested.
It's not the LaCroix. It's not the LaCroix. It's an existential malaise that of a new sort, because I was suffering all winter, of course, but I don't know. It's just watching those home videos and some other stuff I won't get into here because it would be too dark, but just really thinking about, like, don't give me a face about that. I'm trying to be circumspect, you know. Just what a life it is, you know.
Yeah.
And I just think, like, to everyone, I would just say, hug your loved ones.
Okay, that is
wow.
So ominous. Like, our listeners are going to be like, can someone do a welfare check?
Yeah, like Allie, are you going to put on the best talent show this week? Sounds so crazy.
I'm totally fine. I'm fine. It's just life, you know. It's really always happening, and there's just always so much to consider. And on that note, I've been Ian.
I've been Leah.
With a real note and I've been fine this whole time.
Yeah. Leah, no, dude, I wish that
Perhaps
you had just said, and I've been fine this whole time.
Ooh, take it again.
Yeah, take it again.
And I've been fine this whole time.
God
God.
here. Wow.
Guys, this is goddamn tunnel talk. Our theme is by Chris Gorkin. You can find us on Twitter, Tumblr, Twitch, Blue Sky at Tunnel Talk Pod via email tunneltalkpod@gmail.com. We have a souvenir stand. You can find that at shop-teams.com. I'm so sorry. Let me just open this up. You can find us on our feed, on the Social Suplex Network feed, where you can check out some of the other great podcasts on the network, and you can find us on the Social Suplex Network Discord. Please rate, review, and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast. Hug your loved ones. Stay frosty. And as always, please come back next week.